I was looking for an opportunity to go abroad. All of my education has been done in Toronto, so I wanted to experience education at an institution that was perhaps in Europe. So I was just looking for programs online, and I had actually stumbled upon Erasmus Mundus, and so I thought I would apply. And I actually was accepted into the first intake of the program, so it was a completely new program. And but other people had heard about the program through listservs, through associations. So those are some of the ways that students had heard about the program. And for this program, it was a consortium of 3 universities. So Oslo University College in Norway, Parma University in Italy, and Tallinn University in Estonia. So there were 20 students, all from around the world, actually from each continent of the world except for Antarctica. So 20 students from 18 countries in total, because there were 2 Canadians, myself and someone from Alberta, and 2 from Ethiopia. We spent, it's composed of 4 semesters. So first semester was in Norway, second was in Estonia, third was in Italy, and the last semester we chose one of the countries to write our final thesis. It was a really great opportunity to meet people because librarianship is such, it's a pretty practical profession, I would say. You could go to one country and what you do in a different country is quite applicable. So it was very interesting to hear about the experiences of my colleagues. For example, how libraries are set up in Africa or Australia. So it was a very good opportunity to get to know how things are done in other parts of the world, as well as Europe, because we did have field trips in Europe to visit libraries and visit librarians in their countries. So academically, professionally, and personally, those were all the I guess the rewards that I got from the program. And many people in the program had really, I would say most of the people in the program had positive experiences. We all thought that we had won the lottery because it was a really great opportunity to learn, and also the scholarship was very generous and it supported, so we didn't have to worry about financial I guess concerns, because we were supported by the scholarship. And there were challenges, but mostly they were due to, I guess, reasons such as visas and accommodation. So stuff that's outside of the, I guess, the academics. For example, in Italy, I had no problems getting my visa here, but once you arrive in Italy, you had to get a permesso di soggiorno, and which is the permit to allow you to stay in Italy more than 3 months. By the time, since I was only there for less than 6 months, by the time I left Italy, I did not get my permesso. So, and also in Italy, when I arrived in Italy, most of my colleagues and I, we did not know where we were going to stay. I guess many of there's also a pretty relaxed attitude. They say, don't worry about it, we'll take care of it. But for some of us, we would like to know where we're going to stay for the entire time we're there before we get there. So those were the 2 main challenges of finding accommodations and facing bureaucracies. But overall, very, very positive experience, and it was very also nice to hear. You'll hear about my colleagues or fellow alumni, his experience as well, and it was very. We had a meeting with other alumni from Canada in the summer. Very nice to hear about their experience and how positive it has been for them as well. So it's not something that was unique to, I guess, my program. So. As a student, it was really absolutely amazing.
So thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here, and I'm really quite honored and lucky to have been an Erasmus Mundus alumni. My name is Jonathan Lear. I live in Toronto. I grew up in Toronto, and my parents like to say that they're really bad parents because my sister went to Montreal and I decided that wasn't far enough. So I did my undergraduate in Halifax, and I was actually quite lucky. My thesis advisor told me about the Erasmus Mundus program, And for me, I studied in the Erasmus Mundus Master of Applied Ethics in Sweden and the Netherlands, and some of my colleagues also went. Part of the partnership was in Norway as well. But the problem with Norway is it's much farther from the good Ryanair airports, which is, I think, which was a big part of my year. So, especially the chance to be studying in another country and with students from all over the world in my field of bioethics was a great benefit to bring all of those different perspectives together. I mean, just from the perspective of research ethics. One of my classmates was from Nigeria, and they said when they were in school, when you have to dissect a frog in your lab, part of the assignment is you have to actually find the frog, which is something that really didn't come up when I went to school. So I was actually quite lucky also. As a Canadian and going to the countries I went to, I had almost no problem with getting the visas. Coming back home, I've had no problem getting my degree recognized, although I haven't continued as an academic. I know most of my classmates, at least the ones I keep in touch with, most of them went on to do PhDs, whether in Europe, in their home countries, or even in other countries. So I still keep in touch with them, and actually 3 out of the last 4 years I've been able to go somewhere in the world and meet some of my classmates again, which has been a great experience, and I'm very lucky for that. I should probably think of something challenging to say. I think my only one concern when I was finishing the program, and I'm not sure if this has changed in the few years because I did this in 2006, 2007, was I would have loved one of the things I would have been interested in was the opportunity to try and work or continue living in Europe. For me, my main problem with that was, having been in Sweden and the Netherlands, I didn't speak the local language well enough to work there. And had I been able to overcome that gap, then I would have started to look into visa issues and what it means to get a work permit after you have a degree from Europe. Coming to Canada, though, I had no problem, although my current job doesn't technically require a master's. Of the people who do apply to it, almost everyone does have a master's. So I do feel quite comfortable that my degree was recognized coming home. I know I wrote another note or two. Let's see. Oh, I should say, by the way, I was fortunate when I came back. I was hired into the Ontario Public Service, which runs this facility. And if you come here on a nicer day, let me tell you, the view is stunning. No, those were all my notes. I and Ledoux, I'm sure, would love to take questions from you about our experiences.